or decision to walk that which we have planned, so that we can bring total transformation in our members.
As we launch this strategic plan, we must be forward-looking and adaptable. The cooperative sector is at a turning point where technological advancements, regulatory adjustments, and economic shifts require agility and innovation.
We're also looking at increasing our asset base from the current 66 billion to 113 billion by the year 2029, and also increasing our revenue streams. Last year we closed at 10.2 billion shillings. We are looking at growing that to about 19 billion shillings again by the year 2025. In terms of our growth trajectory, we are looking at opening at least 3 new branches every year. So currently we have 12 branches. We'll be looking at having almost 15 new branches moving us into the future.
Now, in order to improve rice productivity and minimize rice imports in the country, the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization, KALRO, has introduced a new yielding rice varieties. Now, according to KALRO Director General Eliud Kigerer, speaking in Mwea after receiving farm machinery from International Rice Research Institute, he noted that the 2 varieties, that is Kalpa and Kalimara rice, are climate-smart high-yielding varieties which take shorter time to mature compared to Pishori and Kwamboka varieties to boost food security.
I think the land that we have here has fully been utilized. That can be used for rice. So we can only, here, to increase production, we can only increase efficiency and use quality seed. But we need to expand to other areas. I know when we talk of rice, we talk of Mwea, we talk of Aero, we talk of Budalangi. Nobody mentions potential areas, new areas like Taita Taveta.
So the mechanization bring in a lot of efficiency and also bring in a lot of saving into resources. And farmers, especially women, we are worried about them because you see them doing transplanting, hoeing the field, controlling weeds, spending the whole day in hot weather like this in the field. When you mechanize the system, you don't need to do that. One farmer can grow a few hundred hectares actually with mechanization.
Now, in a move to cultivate a stronger investment climate and bolster Kenya's economic landscape, Kenya Private Sector Alliance and Kenya Investment Authority KenInvest, that is KenInvest and KEPSA, have signed a cooperation agreement. According to KEPSA CEO Caroline Kariuki and KenInvest CEO John Mwendwa, the partnership will enhance economic, technological and investment ties and opportunities within the bounds of legal frameworks.
Needed to be renewed, but really to sign one that is relevant for the season we're in. And we always say that KenInvest is really our partner in government. It's actually our private sector in government, in the sense that they really champion the interests of private sector and ensure that the issues that we are dealing with as private sector get to the right places and they are resolved. They also, the other thing that we'll be really working closely is to look at investments. A lot of the investors come into this country and they do not get to be handheld. And so as we facilitate them in private sector, KenInvest will be facilitating them in government, and together we'll partner to ensure that they have everything they need.
Now, the Federation of Kenyan Employers, FKE, is demanding changes on rates in affordable housing to control the period during which employees are to pay for the housing levy. Now, speaking in Kisumu City, FKE Chief Executive Officer Jacqueline Mugo said that many employees' salaries are getting affordable housing cuts, yet they do not have the assurance of eventually owning their houses. She has urged the government through the Ministry of Finance to come out and provide assurance that employees who contribute to the project will own the houses.
We continue to engage with the government to see if there's any way in which the level of contribution can be reviewed, and also if we can put a cap on the period for which that payment is done, because we know a substantive amount of money has been raised so far, which has helped build the houses that have been built. So we are going to remain engaged with the government on this matter. We've already presented it to the CS Treasury, and I know the government is considering how to address the issues. Employers have had to say no to this so that they can focus on the statutory deductions. But it is a problem, and we've engaged with the government on this one. We've talked about it for quite a long time, that we need to look at the level of deductions that makes it possible for employees to have take-home pay that is meaningful and does not put employers in jeopardy where you are complying with the law on the taxes and the statutory deductions that you're supposed to apply, and also looking at your employee and realizing that this person has very little income or zero.
Now, Kisumu City, with its strategic location on Lake Victoria, remains a city with untapped potential. Despite its rich cultural heritage, scenic landscapes and proximity to the lake, the city has struggled to fully unlock its growth. Now, as Bramwell Brewery reports, the residents who are struggling with high living costs and business owners who suffer high rates of inflation are calling on the government to implement quick but effective measures that will change their fortunes.
It is one of the 5 cities in the country, and therefore you will expect to get any service at any given time in Kisumu. However, that is not the case. As early as 9 p.m, the city is just a shell with very limited activity, especially in the central business district. Coupled with the high cost of living and high rates of inflation, the residents are struggling to stay afloat.
Mimi nafanya biashara, nauza viatu, lakini hapa Kisumu pesa hakuna. Kwa sasa tunaweza fungua, hata ukifungua bila asubuhi unaweza kaa mpaka jioni bila pesa. Unaweza sasa kidogo tu as compared to uko mbeleni.
Tunataka makampuni siletwe kama ile kampuni ambayo ilikuwa sabuni ndio inaitwa Seafood, kampuni ya samaki. Hiyo kampuni wakati ilikuwa inaandika, ilikuwa inaleta pesa hapa mingi.
Hotel owners are too feeling the hit as they have to grapple with the rising cost and limited returns. However, they believe the government can intervene.
Security of our guests are very much important to us. And sometimes you find during the late time of the night, it is very difficult to access where we are if you are not in a personal vehicle. Such kind. So we know the government, county government of Kisumu should do more to ensure that we are all secured, ourselves and both our guests.
The government should just put in a little bit of money for marketing, creating awareness and encouraging people to just come and see what we have in Kisumu. In return, you know, they will eat, they will spend their nights in beautiful hotels, and yeah.
They need to improve on the infrastructure. They need to make sure the field roads, where a number of people are coming, and if they find that the road is not actually well structured and it is not well maintained, they lose hope.
According to Kisumu City Manager Bala Wanga, the plan to make Kisumu more attractive to investors who will in turn the situation has heavily been hampered by city dwellers who hold vast amounts of undeveloped land.
The investment must start with development. That's why you see we are inviting investors like LV Marina is coming. We are inviting investors like to open up the waterfront. We want the waterfront to be busy. When that waterfront gets busy, you will see the influx of guests trooping to Dunga area and that area to eat fish. You will see a guy living there and he has spent $300. If you have 500 guests, maybe in a month, who spend $300, what is the economic impact? It's huge than sitting there in those makeshifts. And if we have an industrial park, which is well established, where all of us troop there to repair our vehicles and everything, it's going to be the busiest area for manufacturing and trading. Then we have a lower trading zone.
But to Francis Omende, a governance expert, the root of the problem is governance.
Until counties give autonomy to the cities, to the municipalities under them, we will not implement this Urban Areas and Cities Act anytime soon. So my problem is the Urban Areas and Cities Act was never understood, and if it was understood, it has not been implemented. People are still clinging to the city from the office of the governor, from the county government, but still calling them cities, still calling the city manager, municipal manager, but they're still holding on the resources, holding on the powers, and holding on everything else that should be left to the cities and municipalities.
Okay, Nairobi. Bramwell Brewery, KTN, Kisumu.
All right, that's it from business this afternoon. My name is Kelvin Nyakundi. Stick around. Robinson Okenya is coming up next with the latest in the world of sports.